Hi.
Many of us have children, and most of our children are involved in some kind of sport or are just active, rambunctious kids. We make great strides in caring for our children and do everything we can to protect them. What we think is just harmless fun can actually be traumatic to the most important part of their body, their brain. Although children are at the highest risk, any of us or our loved ones can suffer from a traumatic brain injury. According to the Centers for Disease Control, an estimated 1.7 million people visit an emergency room related to a traumatic brain injury. Of those 1.7 million, 275,000 were hospitalized, 52,000 resulted in death, and almost half of these reported injuries were children aged 0 to 14 years. Today I will talk about the different ways that one can suffer traumatic brain injury, who is most vulnerable, what symptoms to look out for, and what long-term effects it can have. In spreading this knowledge, I hope to help people take the most precautions they can in order to avoid a loved one suffering this traumatic event. The main points I will discuss are traumatic brain injury, symptoms, and long-term effects. Now that I've summarized the main points I will be talking about, I will discuss in depth about traumatic brain injury and what that means. The definition of traumatic brain injury is a non-degenerative, non-congenital insult to the brain from an external mechanical force, possibly leading to permanent or temporary impairment of cognitive, physical, or psychosocial functions, with an associated diminished or altered state of consciousness. The most vulnerable are the children aged 0 to 4, adolescents aged 15 to 19, and adults aged 65 or older. Boys are more susceptible to traumatic brain injury than girls. The most common causes are falls, motor vehicle crashes, assault or violence, sport injuries, explosive blasts, or combat. It can also be caused by an object, such as a bullet or shrapnel penetrating the brain. Now that you have a better understanding of what a traumatic brain injury is, I will talk about the signs and symptoms to look out for. Symptoms of traumatic brain injury range from mild to moderate and severe. Children's symptoms vary from adult symptoms and can sometimes be difficult to recognize. Mild symptoms include headache, nausea, blurred vision, fatigue, dizziness, sensitivity to light and sound, memory or concentration problems, and mood swings. Moderate to severe symptoms include loss of consciousness from several minutes to hours, persistent headache, repeated nausea or vomiting, convulsions or seizures, clear fluid draining from the eyes or ears, profound confusion, and slurred speech. Children's symptoms include a change in eating habits, unusual irritability, persistent crying, loss of interest, seizures, change in sleep habits, and inability to pay attention. Being able to recognize these symptoms and act promptly can make all the difference in recovery. It is also important to understand the long-term effects that a brain injury can have. Some of the systems that can be affected are sensory, cognitive, and emotional. In terms of sensory long-term effects, one can have ringing in the ears, difficulty recognizing objects, impaired hand-eye coordination, blind spots or double vision, trouble with balance or dizziness. With cognitive long-term effects, one may have difficulty understanding speech or writing, difficulty speaking, inability to organize thoughts and ideas, and trouble following conversations. With emotional long-term effects, one may suffer from depression, anxiety, mood swings, irritability, lack of empathy, insomnia, or anger. In conclusion, traumatic brain injury is very serious and can happen to anyone, although certain people are more at risk. It is important to know the signs and symptoms to look out for in case one needs to seek immediate attention. The long-term effects have a wide range of symptoms and can affect many aspects of a person or child. Having a better understanding of traumatic brain injury can help you or a loved one prevent suffering from one. Having an ability to recognize the signs and symptoms and seek immediate attention can prevent long-term effects. My sources are as follows: Traumatic Brain Injury by the Mayo Foundation for Medical Education and Research, Traumatic Brain Injury, Definition, Epidemiology, and Pathophysiology by Sigan Toyat Dawoodoo, and Traumatic Brain Injury and Concussion by the Centers for Disease Control. Thank you.